Talofa, hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Tanurumanga's Team Talk, proudly sponsored by Victual, New Zealand's first health and wellbeing supplement that combines ancient Māori and Pacifica wisdom and ingredients. And my guest this evening, he was born in Levin and grew up in both Levin and Fielding before moving to Christchurch. He debuted for the All Blacks in 2015 and was part of the squad that went on to win the Rugby World Cup in England that year, and he's played 56 tests. He played against the British and Irish Lions in 2017, and he was the winner of the Tom French Cup in 2018, which recognises the best Māori rugby player of that year. He has been one of the cornerstones to the success that is the Crusaders, winning multiple championships, which is very frustrating to those that are coaching against the Crusaders. I can attest to that. And he's also stepped into the business world where he's about to launch Eclipse Sports Recovery Drinks. Codie Taylor, welcome on and thank you for your time, brother. It's a huge honour.
Thanks heaps for having me on, man. It's a honour for me as well. It's sort of listening to some of the other podcasts that you've had on there and people, and I was blown away by some of the people you've already talked to. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
No. And I think that's something that you'd know as well as, you don't understand or you don't think about the networks that you create, when you're in this game. Those are just guys I'd played with and, come across, and some of them I hadn't even contacted for ages until I tapped them on the shoulder today. Yeah. Remember me?
Yeah.
They were, more than just like yourself, more than happy to come on and have a chat and actually just catch up, see how things are going. And I think that's one thing I've learnt through this, doing this is the networking part. What are your networking skills like?
It's funny you sort of mentioned that. I was actually thinking the whole sort of point around jumping on here, sort of talk around rugby and a bit of business. And I think you're right. You have met so many people in this professional world, I suppose, with rugby, and you get so caught up in it that I think when you step aside and get into some business, like the business world as well, you actually can draw on a lot of resources that you wouldn't have even thought of. We're just rugby players at the end of the day, but then when you step into a whole new world, you do meet people along the way that you can just sort of have light bulb moments. You're like, oh, geez, I met this guy. Maybe I could ask him, or we'll get in contact. And it's amazing that, I suppose, some people can put you on not a pedestal, but I suppose where you're at in terms of sports and stuff. They want to help you, it seems, and nothing's a burden for them. And I'd like to hopefully say the same about myself one day. But that's what I've found so far. And you try and draw on those the more you step out of your comfort zone, because that's how you learn, right? Ask,
Yeah, that's right. That's the hard thing sometimes, is asking, and that as soon as you step out of that comfort zone, that's when the growing begins, but it's taking that first step. That's the hard one. And, mate, you've achieved a lot, and you're still going to achieve some more. And I think the idea that you're looking at this business side while you're still in it, that's kind of what I've learned from all these podcasts. Is actually I didn't even realize it till I'd started this last year sometime, which was a long time after the fact. And I think you're so right, and we've talked about it on here before around, there's so many good people, rugby people, that want to help. And what I've met some business people, and when they're talking to me, I said, man, what are you on about now?
The jargon and all that.
Oh, 100%. And then they ask about rugby, and then they say I rattle off, and then they see that's the difference, Tana. I talk about business like you talk about rugby, and that's just, that's the life that we've lived in. It's about trying to find those similarities between the two.
100%. I think even though, like you say, a lot of the stuff they talk about goes over your head, like the fundamentals are all the same with what you're trying to achieve. And with business, it's what you want to be performing at a high level, and that's what we do every day as footy players. So I think the fundamentals are the same. It's just all the all the knowledge is different, you know. And
Yeah, that's right. And they have their own, like you said, their own jargon, and I learnt about the 5Ps in rugby. Preparation prevents piss poor performance. And then, one of our business mentors asked me, do you know the 5Ps? I says, yeah, I know, mate. Prevention. And goes, no. Product, was it product, price, I can't even remember them now, but it's 5 totally different things.
I should have my notebook.
Oh, geez, don't listen to me. See, I've forgotten those already. But it's an exciting journey. But it's been a bit tough, bro. Hey, look, I'm sure we'll chat a bit more about business a bit later. But I just want to, if we can go back, about your younger years, and with growing up in Levin. I'm a Wellingtonian, and we used to stop in Levin every year as on our rugby trips as we'd go through to the Hawke's Bay. We'd stop by the train station there, and there's a bakery that would always stop there. I think you've probably stopped at it. But it's also been given a bit of a bad rap in its heyday, about being one of the most boring places to live.
Yeah, it's. I think it's still got that rep. I'm a Levin boy. I actually grew up in Australia for most of my childhood until I was 11 and moved back, and that's sort of when I started playing rugby. First week back, we moved back. Actually, was the first Saturday morning. Was out there running around playing with my cousin, and I was playing league when I was in Aussie. So first rugby game, first tackle, I got up and tried to play the ball. But I had to learn pretty quick in that sense. But it's a small place. Like, I've got a lot of family still there. Mum and dad obviously looked after us there, and then they're actually down in Christchurch now. So I've just got my sisters that are still up north, and great little place. I think there's, from a rugby perspective, there's actually quite a bit of talent in Levin, and potential. I think it's just you don't realise when you're in Levin, you don't actually realise how big bloody New Zealand is, let alone the world, and you get caught up in it a bit. So my thinking was getting out of there as soon as I could, and sort of broaden my horizons, and that happened when I went to fielding. So
that must have been a bit of a culture shock coming from Australia, and then go to small town Levin.
Hard out. I mean, I was in the outskirts of Brisbane, so it's a smaller community, but it was, man. And being a Māori boy, like I still haven't really connected with that side, but just stepping into that sort of going to the marae and stuff, that was real foreign for me, and I didn't know how it all worked, and didn't know you're meant to go grab a tea towel after everyone finishes eating, or help give spuds and stuff. So got a few crooked looks at the times, but
I'm sure you're a fast learner, and they would have taught you quick too, eh?
Dad definitely made us know how to do it pretty quick.
Yeah. And so you went on to fielding. Did you just go up there for school?
Yeah, so I did the old second year, seventh, and repeated.
Nothing wrong with that, mate.
Yeah. I was one of the younger ones, and I thought, I want to play some decent first 15 footy before I sort of look at my next option. And funnily enough, Braden Whitelock, everyone knows that name in the rugby world, Sammy and Georgie and all that's father, sort of got me in contact with fielding, and had the opportunity to board there for the year, and I absolutely loved it. I think it was a sort of a great stepping stone for me to move away when I did, down to Christchurch, just to have a taste of that independence. And I still went home every weekend, but made sure, I think just the habits that you get taught and you instill when you're in boarding school was awesome. I didn't have to go through all that, junior stuff when you're down in the pecking order. I sort of started at the top. So it wasn't a true boarding school experience, but it was still fun. Oh,
I'm sure. And, with fielding and moving down to Christchurch, was that with, obviously, as you said, with Braden Whitelock, his boys went down there. Was it just a natural progression for you to move down to Canterbury as well?
Yeah, I was sort of post-rugby. After fielding, after that finished, Well, I'd actually, Canterbury sort of had approached me. I think the year earlier it was like the NZ17s, and then Angus Gardner, who was our manager at the time, who's now like the performance manager for the Crusaders. Him and Matt Sexton, who was our position-specific coach, he was also at the camp. So I suppose, I don't know, they saw something and offered me the opportunity to go down there, and also had the opportunity to stay in Manawatu. Jason O'Halloran was floating around at that time. And yeah, it was a pretty tough decision, but I just thought at the time, Canterbury being, they were a pretty special team back then. Corey Flynn was down there, and I thought if I can sort of crack it down in like one of the best provinces, then I'll be doing pretty well. That was my whole thought process, and yeah, it sort of took a while, but I suppose it went all right for me.
Yeah, it certainly has. And has hooker always been your position, or were you one of those transplanted number 8s, that kind of moved into hooker?
I actually played prop when I was at Hodderford College. I was just a big boy, and there was no other props, so I played prop first. Threw on the line out though, and then hooker straight away went. Fielding went to hooker, and just a little bit of loose forward, but yeah, I was always a bit short. So,
geez, with the way you play now, I could never imagine you being a prop or a hooker to start off with. You definitely look like a loose forward. You play like a loose forward now.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I think I try to more than anything.
Oh, well, as you'd know, you have to these days.
Yeah, just trying to keep up with the talent coming through. Holy.
And we'll talk about your Crusaders culture, because like I said, I've been one of those frustrated about going down there and not getting success like we've tried to. Yeah. What do you think sets it apart? Obviously, you've been unbeatable in finals in the last 5 even longer years. Obviously you've got great talent. But as we know, it's not just about talent that wins championships, and you've got the coaching staff that are down there. What can you share without giving too much away? I'm sure that makes you a special place down there.
It's all good. I suppose, like when I look back, I was sort of part of the team since 2013 to that 2015 where things started to change, or 2016, I suppose. We still had unbelievable talent. Like you say, we had, two of the GOATs, like DC, Ritchie, and like Rito and all that running around. And we still, we lacked something. We couldn't get the job done in those years. We came close in finals, but yeah, didn't. And then I think just the shift in a bit of culture stuff. I don't know. I sense that in my younger years, we weren't as connected as we should have been. Like, I know you've got to earn the likes of older players' respect in a sense, but like we were, in the wider squad, we were fully segregated from the full squad. We're in another changing room, and I think we drive, like nowadays we drive, I don't know, like a young guy coming in should feel as welcome as, a guy that's played 100 games, because that means you're going to get the best out of him when he gets his opportunity. And I think, over the last few years, people like that have had to step up, and they have, because I'd like to think that they've felt comfortable enough to express themselves, and that just comes off the back of a good culture. We know how flamboyant and that Razor can be, and he doesn't mind being the wee peacock, and but he does drive that culture really well, and just detail. The way the game's going, you have to nail all your detail within it, and if you're not prepared to learn or try new things, then I think that's where you're in trouble. And I suppose it's something that our coaching staff at the moment pride themselves on and do really well.
Yeah, well, you've got to. It's good that you talk about the coaching staff, because you have got a very good coaching staff. I've worked with all of them, actually, except for one guy there, Tabai Ellison. How's my mate Tabai Ellison going down there?
He's unreal, like, as we speak, he's actually not with us because he's isolating at the moment.
Oh,
yeah. So, yeah, whole COVID sitch. But I haven't met a more passionate man about defense in my life, in my whole rugby career. I think he loves it. And when he first came down last year, I was really surprised. Man, that's like Wellington Hard would come down, but mate, he's the manner of the man, and I just have so much respect for who he is as a person, and he shows that in the way he coaches. He's just willing to give you his best so that you can go out there and perform.
And he's always been like that, even as a player, and when he's your teammate, he's so positive. Sometimes I remember when we were playing, I was going, man, what have you been on, man? You're right. He's just I'm good. I'm good, man. Let's go. We can do this. Oh, nice. And I was that old guy. Oh, calm down, man. You take it. I've got enough energy for this. You got too much energy for all of us. But no, I've got a lot of time for times, and it's been great to see him down there. And he speaks highly of his time down there. So oh, geez, it's sad that COVID, it's getting everybody. It's
I know. Well, like the Hurricanes boys at the moment have been hit pretty hard, I think, and Moana Pacifica earlier than that. But yeah, I just think you have to be pretty diligent in your group. Sort of got the wife locked down a little bit at home, and it's hard on them, But we tried that pretty hard in the group, because if we're doing the little things right, it means you can put your best team forward, and you just you just played your first game for the season, after a lengthy break, and scored 2 tries from a rolling maul. Neat point.
They still count. They all count, man, no matter if they're 50 meters or 2 meters. But how hard is it, for All Blacks? They've had a long season, and then you get a break, which you definitely need. You spend time with your family, especially after the season you had last year. Were you away? How long were you away for last year? 15 games, 15 weeks?
I think it was 101 days. Yeah.
I remember, I think what year it was. I think my last year. I think that was the breaking point for me, when I was away over 100 days. And that was just being away from home. And I thought, that was going to leadership meetings and things in different parts of the country. You'd play a game on Saturday, and we'd have to jump on a plane Sunday morning and go to a leadership meeting all day, come back Sunday night, and then go to, say goodnight to your kids, and, go to work in the morning. Yeah. And I think that was kind of the telling blow for me. I said, oh, no, man, I've had enough of this. And I actually remember Jerry Collins keep ringing me. Oh, he'd had enough. It's, I've got a family thing on us. Don't lie. We're in the same family. I thought, just tell Ted, I can't make it. So, no. But, how difficult is it? I know it's great being home and with the kids in there, but how difficult is it in that period? Because you have to prepare by yourself, don't you? Obviously, we've got a few. I've had experience with some guys that haven't looked after themselves well in their break that they've had. So when they come back, it's taken them a little while to get up to match fitness.
Fat man's club. Yeah.
How do you cope with it, bro? How do you look after yourself? Obviously you're experienced now, but what's your go-to?
Definitely last year was tough. Like, really tough mentally. I think that's probably one of the hardest experiences I've had being away from home. So just touching on that I when I got back, I just locked it down in Christchurch. Like, I didn't leave. We stayed home, and it was awesome. It was the best time. Like, we didn't go on holiday or anything, but I think for me, I actually really enjoy the off season. Like, I don't know. I like to branch out when it comes to like S&C stuff around my fitness and that, and I probably get a bit carried away at times. I've got a bro who owns a gym down here called 6'4" Fitness, and it's CrossFit, so it's pretty hard out. But like, I just go there every day and do what I have to. He pushes me, and it's just nice to be able to be in a different environment. Like, these people are so much fitter than me and anyone I've ever trained with before. it's unbelievable to just see like these normal people that you wouldn't even know, like lawyers, accountants, they can just throw a barbell around and bloody walk on their hands and stuff. It's pretty pretty awesome to see. But yeah, there's still that team, I suppose, feel to it, but it's in a whole new group. And then when I get back into the Crusaders and Super Rugby, it's really refreshing again, because you've got these young guys who have been in the preseason campaign for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and how hard they're working. So it makes you, you have to really sit down, right? I've got a plan here, because these guys have been going hard, and you don't want to let the boys down and turn up and be real rusty. But yeah, that's sort of the way I've approached it the last few years, and it's good.
And it must be, like you say, you've got people from different walks of life, so they're not all rugby heads talking about rugby, or, talking about a lineup that, we've got to work on, or,
No, that's just the bro giving me smack. Every game he's watched the year before, but no, the rest of them are real good. Yeah.
And, must be good too, like, not being in that regimented schedule, having to be somewhere at a certain time and being a meeting. I know that was something that our boy, I know for me, but I don't love a meeting. If we can get by with that, having a meeting, I'm pretty happy. But on the other side, now that I've stepped away from rugby, I've found myself looking for a structure, I got out because I work for myself, so I get, but I don't know what to do with myself. Should I be doing something now?
Yeah. Should I be productive? And,
exactly. And like I say, and when you get into something new, you don't know what's productive or what's a waste of time, because there's so many things that you have to think about. Hey, once you're finished with it, that sometimes having something to go to is a good thing.
Yeah.
And also, when you're a hooker, especially in the All Blacks, it's always in a kind of position that you have to sit and do your time behind someone, isn't it?
Yeah, I think well, that's definitely the way it went for me, and at the time you don't like it, but it's probably the best thing for you. Like you say, it's you gain experience, you get a few hide-ins and scrums, you sort of I don't know, you work on your throw-in, all that little stuff. I think paid off in the end for me. But yeah, I think you're right. It's a different one. I think most front rowers are the same, even if you're a prop as well. Takes a bit longer, it's sort of a bit of the whole man strength in that position as well. So yeah.
And how'd you deal with that? Because again, it was something that I've noticed, like, obviously you think about Sean Fitzpatrick and Norm Hewitt, who was, I played with, and he must have, I'm guessing, must have played 60 tests from the bench behind someone that nearly played 100, and then, there was obviously the likes of Dane to Kevin, and yourself to Kevin and Dane now, and there'll be no doubt, those guys, and there'll be, Simon who's coming in, Samasoni that's coming in behind you. How do you deal with that, when you're that close, and everyone wants to start, we know we've got a job to do, from whether it be starting or from the bench, but knowing that I want to start, I want to get that number 2 jersey.
When I was a young fella, like I said, sort of always thought I was ready, but probably wasn't, and probably grateful now for that.
I'm glad you admitted that, because there's probably some young guys that won't admit it.
Yeah. Oh man, like I remember playing my first preseason for the Crusaders. I think I was 19. I think I might have hit bloody 2 out of 10 lineouts, and like just looking back now, I'm like, man, you were in a deep end right then. It's like, what were you doing? But like again, I learned from it, and sort of just got on with it, and 3 or 4 years later, I got my opportunity, and I suppose now I look back on those times and think, it was all worth it, and definitely was. And I think, I don't know, like you said around Kevy and Dane, I think, like I said, Kevin Mialami was probably in a transitional period from when, like, the guy ahead of him I can't imagine was very nice, or you know how it used to be. No one, not having my
exactly.
position. I've heard some interesting things about Norm Hewitt
Yeah.
to the younger guys, and even like Codie,
Yeah.
when he was first coming through. There's definitely a little bit of respect to be earned, like and like buying your time. But I think nowadays, Chrono drove it a lot when I first came in the All Blacks, is like helping each other, is helping the team. If you're upskilling him, it means the team's going to be better all around, and if you're the coach, you're going to become a better player as well. And hopefully, the likes of Sonny and Asafo and can sort of say that we chipped in where we could, and when our time's up, they'll come through the ranks and be those guys as well. I think that's the mindset shift that I've probably noticed when I first started to now.
Okay. Yeah, look, it wasn't just hookers that had that mindset,
Yeah, I bet.
It was definitely an old school mindset. Yeah, I'm sure you have. And so what's the future hold for you now with your footy? I think you've signed with New Zealand long term, well, up until the work.
Beyond, I've sat back in summer thinking, holy moly, I've signed a 4-year deal, so I'm locked in, and like hugely grateful for that. But I'm thinking, man, I got to get my carcass through 4 more years, and I still want to be playing at a high level. I will be with Super Rugby alone. So, no, I think just given the current climate in New Zealand or in the world, just seemed like the best choice for me and my family. There'll be three kids. I'll have 3. 2 of them, 2 of them will be at school by then. So by the time I finish, I couldn't imagine myself leaving, packing up now, and going to likes of France or anything. Still want to do more, and the black jersey, red and black jersey. So that was the whole thinking behind the day.
Oh, nice. And like you say, as hookers go, you've still got plenty more years in that casket to go. I don't know how you guys do it. The likes of Kiwi and Dane before, and yourself, how you're in the middle there. Your arms are wrapped up. You can't protect yourself in the middle of those scrubs.
Yeah. I feel my neck getting shorter and shorter each year, honestly.
I'm sure if they measure you, you would be. You would be. And so, you're starting to move into business, and your attitude around business has it always been something that you'd wanted to get into. Your recovery drinks, around the supplement side, or is it just something, an opportunity that came up?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been interested in like other things, and rugby. You get opportunities, you earn good money, you want to do something good with it, and then I suppose combining that with my passion for like fitness and that whole world. I think a big part of me personally is I always enjoy looking for like the next thing that can sort of help me perform better, and I suppose naturally that just took me to sort of a bit of nutrition. Had some good chats with Katrina Derry, who's our nutritionist for the All Blacks, and just long story short, there was a drink we were drinking in off season that was claiming all these recovery benefits, and we're like, man, why can't we do this, and actually put the amounts you need in it that are actually going to benefit. And you probably had the same experiences around with your supplements. And also in the All Blacks, we have to drink like 3 different drinks after a test match, and you feel so sick after the fish oils, the smoothie, the deer's blood. Honestly, it's terrible. So I just sort of thought maybe we can make this all in one and try and make it half decent tasting, and combining that with the first idea sort of just naturally came about. And I think we've learnt a lot along the way. Like we've actually probably blown a lot of money, and also learned a lot from those experiences, but hopefully one day I can say, look, that wasn't a waste of time or money, because that was where we learned our most and come out even better for it. So yeah.
Hey, look, as I've learned, hey, you worry about it, but all startups, don't succeed. Hey, there's so many, and that's not saying you won't, but that's the kind of mindset. But knowing that, you learn about, like you say, here's some jokes, and you bootstrap your startup, so it means you fund it yourself. And that's we're doing the same thing. But then you also know, hey, that's not a never-ending pot of money that's coming out.
It's not forever, right?
Yeah. So you're still, it's either, man, I've got to keep playing for a lot longer, or actually I've got to be a bit wiser and efficient about how I use my money, and where we're going to go with that. We're going through that at the moment, and I think you talk about taste. Taste is huge, eh? Everyone can say, it does this, but it tastes.
No one's going to touch a product. It could make you a superhero, but if it tastes rubbish, then you're out of luck.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And did you have any background, in terms, when you came through school, was there anything in, like, you thought about doing a business degree? Did you do anything there, or are you doing that at the moment as well as before you launch get into the business?
No, not really. When I first left school, I was doing a sports science degree, and to be completely honest, I lasted 6 months, and I was like, man, I'm not enjoying this. Like, I think it was the anatomy papers that threw me off. I was like, this is crazy. Like, but after that, I dabbled in other things. Like, I love getting on the tools and building, and I can see that being potentially something I do after footy. But with this drink and this idea, I think we're really going to push hard for it. Like, the guy where I train for the gym at 6'4", he's my business partner, and we're he's like more passionate than I am about high performance, so we sort of work well together. And I suppose with his networks in the CrossFit world, that seems to be a big market for us around supplements, and I don't know if you've heard of the drink like Fit Aid. There's a sort of like Monster, but with good nutrients and stuff in it. That's sort of our angle, like a carbonated beverage that's you sort of crave after a workout, and that's the whole idea around it. And sort of diving into some pre-workout stuff as well around a carbonated pre-workout drink. Plenty already out there, but like I see you got batch tested product, and that's just a point of difference that we want to sort of target as well. We're noticing the All Blacks, and even in the Super, a lot of boys drink Red Bull before training. It's like, well, can we actually add caffeine and maybe a few, I don't know, nootropics where you're actually getting some benefit 100%. From not just drinking a fizzy with 300 milligrams of caffeine.
And, so much sugar in it that it's going
to exactly.
Yeah, you're right. And so when did it start? You and your mate starting up Eclipse.
Well, we started with that first lockdown was when we had our first conversations with people. So we were like constantly Zooming with people. There's a company called Food South that looked after us, and we contracted up with them, and they sort of helped develop the first one. Turns out nothing against Food South, they were amazing, but the first drink turned to rubbish, absolute rubbish, and just didn't formulate. So we were making gunky fizzy. So that was sort of we lost a little bit of money there, and I think the biggest learning for us was that we tried to launch too early. Like, we made like a small trial, and then we went boom, let's make I think at the time it was like 5,000 liters of this beverage, and it's like, can't imagine how much money that is. And then it all turned to crap, and I had cans sitting in my garage for a whole year that were just undrinkable, but I was just too attached to them to throw them out.
That's my money. That's my money.
Yeah, I know. I came home, and no word of a lie, like boxes had mold on them because some of them have exploded because they went off. Like, I'm not talking the product here at all. And, it'll be better, but those are just some experiences that we've had along the way. Like, it's
But those are the things, that you learn from, like you said, and again, I've heard so many stories in recent times about that's just, but the first step is always the hardest one. And, you're understanding that, I've got this great idea. Now, how do I put it into practice or, make it something tangible? And you're right. Hey, it's just knowing, when to actually, all right, I'm happy with it now. We've done everything. And it's going to be safe to go to market, and it's going to be the way that I want it to be, But on the other side of that, you're so keen to get it out there, and we don't want to miss out. It's that's where my wife and I, we're the two. She's the get it out there. I'm the, are you sure? Are you sure?
That's what I need to be.
Yeah, so it's you've got to have those. I'm that kind of guy that no, we don't want to risk it too early, and it blow, and she's. Once we get out there, it's out there, and then we can start to we're on, and we can start to learn about it. And I was going, no, that's a really public place to make a big mistake. Especially the industry we're in at the moment. Is
and you're attaching your name to something like a product, like straight away. You put it out there, and it turns to rubbish, and it comes back to you. No one else. Like
100%.
It's just the reality of it.
But mate, look, and it's like I said, that failure to actually getting into that's the best place to grow from, because it's never batch number one that's the perfect one, it's always adapting, and sometimes well, how come batch number one's not perfect? Because I thought we were going to be perfect the first time. Oh no, something's changed. something new's come along. And we want to add that into, because that again, those benefits that that about, or that again scientifically proven that that's the key thing. That's something that I think with in my time with the All Blacks as well. They're always trying to get that those 1%ers, but it's not. It's all about the benefits. It's not about but that was yuck. If I wasn't in this environment, I'd never take it again. So what do you think are the few skills or transferable skills that you've kind of learned from rugby that you can transfer into the business world in the way that you've started?
I think firstly the first one would just be around being so determined to find a way, and you think about where, as a young fella, we always wanted to be an All Black or whatever, and something along the way just triggered us to keep working hard, and eventually, I suppose, we got that opportunity, and we did it. I think that in itself is a huge value for business. I think your determination to find a way, you put in the mahi, and you'll get there. I think, like we touched on earlier, around the whole networking thing, drawing off those people, that's really something we didn't do at the start, and now we're doing better. The likes of Katrina Derry, who's a world-renowned nutritionist, our one Conrad here at the Crusaders, he's been awesome. And then also just staying in your lane, you do what you're good at, and let the other guys nail their role. So we found that with our new guy who's formulating our drink. We have no idea. We know what we want to put in it, and then he talks all this jargon. We're going to tweak it like this, blah blah blah, and you're just being happy with he can take control of that area. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about it, and when it's ready, we can get it to market, and I can just focus on ordering suppliers, ingredients, cans, all that stuff.
It sounds like me, bro. I'm the warehouse guy. That's why I pack orders, come down in the morning, put my headphones on,
step on those courier stickers.
Exactly. I enjoy it, bro. I said, oh man, this is my level. I love this.
It must be such a fulfilling feeling too, though. Even watching Artie do it with his clothing brand, it's unreal just to see someone being successful in something they've, totally away from rugby. But it must be so fulfilling to just be in that little zone and knowing that you've sold a product.
Oh, it is. It's like you have that Shopify app on your phone,
Yeah, yeah.
and you get that ding. It's, oh, cha-ching, cha-ching. So it's,
Yeah, yeah,
you still got all this product in your garage, but there's
yeah.
one sold.
There's
Sold
one
one. That's it.
sale.
Yeah, that's it. They'll keep coming. You're just determined to sell. It says, yeah, So,
Yeah, yeah.
it's funny. You said you've got that network support, but do you have business mentors?
We had we teamed up with a company of actually with the University of Canterbury. They're called Think Lab, and they're
Yeah,
pretty much just grill you. They grill you the whole every meeting. We walk out there feeling so deflated, but at the same time, like, holy man, we've got so much work to do. And like one of the guys is obviously he's been pretty successful in a lot of small business and startups, and yeah, again, get lost in a lot of his jargon, but sometimes he can explain it or dumb it down in a way that we can understand. And I think drawing on those guys, and that's probably the main two that we've looked at. And yeah, I probably need to be better in that sense. Like yourself, like asking you questions would be something I'd love to do, because you're already in market and you're at the point where we want to be in 6 months or 12 months. We don't know, but just those learnings, those are gold for us at the moment. So,
bro, I'm not about to say that I'm a mentor, but hey, anytime you want to ask a question, I'm more than happy to let you know what I know. Or, we've met so many good people, like you say, and you're right. We've got a mentor who's been in business for years, and he was that guy I was telling you about where he was talking about business, and I didn't know what he was talking about, and I was talking rugby, and he was going, so, this is what it's like, that we're just in different fields of expertise.
yeah,
But he's been a great help for us. We got him in once I'd left rugby because exactly, mate, we were just running around chasing our tail. Oh yeah, no, do that. Oh no, we have to do that. And in the end, you split yourself between all these things, and you don't achieve anything as fast as you actually could if you just these are the critical few. These are the critical things that I have to do now. Those are the, those things
rather than all this,
100%. These are the critical few. This is all I have to focus on now. That can wait till later. And we've met and some people we've met too. They're based down in Christchurch, so man, I'm sure I'll pass on some some names, and I'm sure that'd be really help too. Yeah. So how do you deal what coping mechanisms do you have to deal with when you're not, because it's tough as a footy player, and I found it tough even just coaching last year. I was meant to be involved with the whole business side, but man, I was just I'd go to work, do my thing, and you're coaching, and then I'd come home and I'd have to make sure I was meant to come home and pack those orders, or we have to make some decisions here, and it says what do you think? Yeah. And I was just winding my wife up. She's just getting wound up. Oh, you want to do this? Oh, yeah. I was I'm too tired. I'm just too tired. So how do you deal with all that? What mechanisms do you have to cope with, not just the pressures of footy, but, with the pressures of trying to get the business up and running?
Yeah, I think what I learned last year was that I can't, rugby's number one. Like, I've got to put as much energy as I can into that, because like, it's what I love. It's my bread and butter at the moment. It's, reality is it's where I can fund this business. So the better I'm doing there, hopefully the more successful, or the more I can put into the business one day. But I think around managing the whole logistics of it, because we're still at the early trial phase at the moment, it's just emails, Zooms, phone calls, and catch-ups with the business partner. And then because it's been so long as well since we first started, we front-loaded a lot of the whole stock stuff. Like, that was our biggest worry, because at the time when we were all in lockdown, we're getting all this product in from around the world, and man, lead times. You need to find a product.
Yeah.
You get told one thing and you're not getting it for another 2 or 3 months. But I suppose that's been a little bit of a positive for us, not launching straight away, is that we've still got the stock that we can use to make our drink. And at the moment, there's a company, Pacific Flavors, who are they manage a lot of our formula. Yeah, you would know them.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And Mike's our main guy. He's the guy helping
nice.
formulate it, and they've got all our stock at the moment, so they're making the process pretty simple at the moment. I think, it's going to get real tough for us once we go to that launch, once we upscale to that market size. Stock. Then we'll be under the pump, and I need to have a serious sit down. I've got an awesome wife. She's in marketing, so she helps us with that.
It's good.
And she's an event manager by trade, or that's what she's done with marketing. So she knows how to cross her T's, dot her I's, and I'll be drawing on her knowledge once we get to that stage.
Yeah, well, that's all part of it too. It's one thing to actually produce the product, then you've got to get it to market, and then advertise, and that's obviously where you have to come in as well, and that's been a big part of my thing too, just getting out of that comfort zone, because I've been very comfortable just I like to sit behind, and my day's gone, man. But you've got a product now, so you've got to do what you can, and because you believe in it so much too, I believe in this. I want to give I want to share this with the world.
100%. I think I'm probably one of those reserved people. I probably don't try and put myself out there too much, but like you say, with marketing, when it's your product, people want to see your face, and they want to see you're the one. Like, we're already talking like posters, and that feels so awkward to me. It's like, man, I don't want to be on a poster, but funnily enough, you're on Crusader posters everywhere, but when it's your own product, you're like, no. But it just changes, and you have to be that guy because you want it to excel.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, like you say, we're involved in all these marketing things, and because we're with a team, and we're just, God, okay, you're that guy. Oh, okay, yeah. I'd stand over there. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Read this line.
Smile. Oh, sorry. And then you realize, actually, I have to do this for real, because so you're smiling straight away. Yeah, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Oh, it's so funny. And you've talked about health and well-being. Obviously you love CrossFit, but again, in this times, and in these current COVID times especially, how do you deal and look after yourself and your own well-being?
I think, it's probably, like another area that I'm probably pretty passionate about is getting a bit of edge on recovery. I went all out last year and did some gene testing, and found out some interesting stuff around like what I should actually be taking, like nutrient-wise, what works for me. So things like, we get told to have magnesium before bed because it helps relax you. Well, for me, it doesn't even work. So like finding out these little things I thought, would be a benefit. I just bought a sauna because that was one of the things. Is sauna is real good for my recovery and my inflammation. So I've invested a bit of money into that, and I think I've always tried to be pretty diligent with recovery. Stretching is a big thing for me. It's one of those every night things before bed. You're sitting down at the end of the bed doing your stretches, and then pretty random stuff like that. But it's paid off, and I think it's something I probably won't stop even after footy, because when I don't stretch for 2 days, bro, I can, glutes are blowing out. I can barely walk, and you notice the difference.
Well, again, that's the measure of yourself, understanding the tools of your trade, is what you walk around and, have to carry around for, all your life and all your days. So the way you look after it, dictates how long you're going to stay at the highest level. And is that an infrared sauna?
It's a hot rocks, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard. Have you heard of Nigel Beach?
No.
He's the sauna man, and Wim Hof and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Done a little bit of work with him, and he's big on the hot rocks. And when I found out this whole thing that it was beneficial for me, I was like, that's me. I'm done. A couple of the lads have the infrared though. Yeah. And they rate them. So one thing I did infrared, and again
I'm a bit like yourself, I was looking for something, recovery-wise, as you do when you get a bit older. You don't even worry about it until you're about 26, 27.
Yeah, that's so true.
But then you hit a point of, actually, this is taking a little bit longer than usual. So you start finding things, and I tried the infrared. What else was there? Obviously, massage and stretching became a, like you say, twice a day kind of thing. It was just
I miss it the most at the moment. No massage,
you can't even do that with.
Nah, just COVID, outside the bubble. So
Yeah. Oh, with if you could have think about what you've achieved at the moment, what would you think was your greatest achievement to date in your rugby career? Obviously you're going to have a lot more, with a lot of good things coming up.
It's tough. I think winning the titles have been awesome. Huge, like the memories. I think for me, as like on a full personal level, would be playing 100 games for the Crusaders would probably be one of my most proudest things, or most proud things I've ever done. I only did it last year, but you play one and you're pumped that you've cracked Super, but to sort of chip away, and especially because it took so long to actually get an opportunity. Like, it wasn't until 2015 that I actually played some decent time, and looking back now, I think that's where it comes from. It took 3 or 4 years to even get a crack, and then now I can say that I played 100 games for the franchise that gave me a crack. So it's probably, for me, on a personal note, the biggest one.
Oh, that's awesome, and that's no mean achievement either, is it? 100 games. I'm a bit like yourself. I always wanted to play 100 games for my province and 100 games for the Hurricanes, and being able to achieve that is a feat when you think about it in terms of consistency. That kind of tells the story that I was able to turn up to training and play in a consistent way, and I made my coaches. That have to. I was going to challenge them if they didn't pick me, man. It better be a good reason, because I'm doing everything I can, to get myself out there, because I've got a goal, and I know that's something that I loved, that I hold really dear around that. And it's no mean feat. So congratulations on that too, bro.
Thanks, man. No, I like, even like you can't take anything from putting that big jersey on either, but like you say, it's 100 weeks of training for those 100 games, but it's also all those other weeks that you battled away and put in that yakka to get a crack.
And it's your ability to be resilient. Hey, we're not playing. I don't want to say it, because I get mocked about it anyway. But we're not playing tiddlywinks out there, and every week, And trainings are just the same too. Most people would probably get injured at some of the trainings, especially now with the amount of contact, in there, and
the size of the lads, they're getting bigger,
and how fast they can move.
It's scary.
But it's, again, like you say, it's a testament to your ability just to suck it up, get back out there, and find a way. I talked to Sonny Bill the other night, and he said the same thing. That's one of the things he said to young players is just find a way, just find a way. That was one of his pieces of advice, because, when you've been around as long as he has, and like you say yourself, playing 100 games, you definitely, you find a way. And sometimes it's finding those 1%ers, and sometimes it's just saying, "Oh man, I'm just going to get out there."
Front up.
So who are your role models, when you were coming through, even as a youngster, or, when you came through professional footy or footy in general?
I think, cliche, like mum and dad were huge. They both played sport when we were kids growing up. I think those small sacrifices that they made along the way around getting you to training every week and then getting you to your game on Sunday. Like you can never take that for granted. You know, even now being a parent, like it's hard enough getting like our daughter to gymnastics for one session a week, and you know, you train twice a week for rugby and then you play on Saturday mornings. Like that's a huge commitment from parents, and I think I'm just hugely grateful for what they done. As a sort of teenager coming through, started the gym, and Dad was the one at the gym with me, you know, like spotting and all that little stuff, and like that was, you know, I look back now, that was awesome. You know, he was obviously there doing his own workout too, but at times he'd just come along because I was working out, and he was our first 15 coach from when I was at Horowhenua right through to when I left. So they've always been a big part of rugby for me, and I suppose I'm lucky to have parents like that. Not everyone does, and I think they're a big part of how I got to where I am now. Yeah.
No, that's right. Hats off to our parents. They do sacrifice a lot for us. Hey, leadership. You know, you've been a captain, and you know, what is the key skill or attribute that you know that you would connect with leadership for yourself?
I think it'd probably be that word connect, like connection. You know, I suppose looking back now, when I first started with the Crusaders, I felt disconnected from the group a little bit, probably from a personal level too, but like just the way the squad was. So I always sort of said that I wanted to be able to connect with every player and at least acknowledge them, whether you're walking in for, you know, 1 week because there's been an injury, or you've been there since I first started. I think that's one thing that I sort of want to always be able to say that I did. I made the young fellas feel welcome, and I was able to connect with them. Because like I said earlier, if they feel welcome, they can go out there and do their thing.
Nah, 100%. Last question, bro. So what advice or tips would you give, you know, these young guys coming through, you know, whether it be in sport or, you know, who want to start out in business, you know, or what have you got for them?
Jeez, business. I think business would be make use of the people around you. Like that's what we didn't do at the start, and found it the hard way, and that's what we're doing now, and it's paying off hugely. And I think with rugby, just persevere. It took a long time to get a good crack, and all those, I look back on those 3-4 years and I think, you know, you hung in there, and now look at you. That's sort of probably the biggest advice I could give.
No, awesome, bro. Be proud of that too, bro. You're doing great. Hey, thank you for your time, and you know, mate, I think I can keep going, but this is a bit late, so no, I really appreciate it, Codie, and I wish you all the best for the season.
Yeah,
I do mean that, bro. No. I do mean it.
No, I wish you all the best with Victor as well, mate. And I just want to say how it's a huge honour, bro. I was one of the young guys when you were still running around carving up, so it's cool to sit here and have a chat, and hopefully we'll be crossing paths one day with you know, outside of rugby, because of where we want to be in the business world. So.
Oh, 100%, bro. And as I said, you know, that invitation, anytime you got my number and how to contact me. So, you know, I'm really, as you do, I'm just willing to pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, bro, hugely.
Oh, okay, bro. All the best, day.
Thanks, Tanner. Appreciate it, man.
Take care, bro.
See you, mate. Bye.